Hey everyone, I'm Leah Granger, and you're watching Curtain Call, presented by Fab Collab. We are a weekly interview series on Instagram Live, featuring in-depth conversations with powerful women in the arts. And this week, we have a really amazing guest that I think a lot of viewers might actually know. She's from the flamenco world. Hi, there she is. And I'm not gonna say too much about her because we're gonna delve into that. But she's an incredible dancer who's rejoined us in Toronto, as so many people have. I'm just going to invite her to join here. Yeah, and we're really happy to have her here today because she's a really integral part of our community.
Hi.
Hey, Dee. I can stop babbling. Welcome, Makeda Benitez.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure. So happy to have you here. And yeah, it's great because it's a nice opportunity for us to just chat and for me to like hear how you're feeling about flamenco and dance and hear some of your story that maybe even I didn't know.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we do know quite a bit of it, but I wasn't there at the beginning, so I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just jump right in. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about like how it all started. You're from Toronto, and I know that you started dancing very young. So can you tell me a little bit about the very beginning?
Okay, so my introduction to flamenco was through my mom. She used to dance at as a student at Esmeralda's studio, the Academy of Spanish Dance in Toronto, and I went to see one of her. I went to see one of her recitals, and I think I was like 5 at the time, so I decided that this was something that I wanted to do. So then she took me to see one of the company's shows. Esmeralda's company had a show at Harbourfront. And after the show, so the story goes that after the show, I asked Esmeralda how she moved her feet so fast. And she told me that she had batteries in her feet. And I was 5, so I was like, oh my God, I want batteries in my feet. So yeah, I started taking class that September, actually. It was like pretty immediate. Yeah, that's the beginning. My dad took me to class until I could take myself. So like,
Wait, were you 5 when you started?
yeah,
Or 6? Something like that? 5? Wow.
5, yeah.
So do you remember like the beginning? Like as a little kid, were you like, yeah? Like, or were you just sort of like, this is fun. This is like a fun pastime. Or were you like, I love this? Like, how did you feel in the beginning?
I think I would say it was somewhere in between. Like I really enjoyed it as like kind of an activity on Saturdays, but I did always feel like very interested in it for sure. Like it was a little bit more than just like something to do on a Saturday. I remember like wanting very quickly to jump into like the intensity, like footwork and costume and everything. Obviously there's like things that come before that. But yeah, I always really enjoyed it. I know Margarita.
Oh my God, the cat is being hilarious. They're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I started taking class at Esmeralda's. And yeah, I always really loved it for sure. And I think probably when I was like a pre-teen or teen is when I started really thinking that this was something I wanted to do more seriously. And kind of started seeing it more as, or less as like something to do and more as like something I wanted truly to do. So
I'm sure that I've told you this before, but like I think when you were like 13, I was like kind of going back and forth to Spain, so I wasn't in Toronto that much or like in classes or anything, so I didn't like know people that like I didn't know everybody, and I went to this recital, and you were in it, and I was like, who is that? Like it's like it was the recital that it's on the flyer for the set for Esmeralda's school right now.
yeah.
It's like you're in a purple dress doing Sevillanas. Yeah. And I was like, her. And then I was like, she's 13. I was like, what? Yeah. So like clearly it was like you have a sort of not, I mean, obviously you were working hard, but it definitely seems like it was like something that was natural to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't know that story. It's funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was very funny. I was like, what the hell? Who's that person? When someone just like pops up and you're like, oh, wow. I remember there's like a few other times I've seen shows like that where it's like there's one person and then they later like You know what I mean? They're just like a student at that time, but you see the potential.
Yeah.
Wait, so did you start like at that age? Did you start taking like more and more classes, or what were you doing?
So I took just the one class on Saturdays, I think until probably until like middle school. So I guess like
Mhm.
11 or 12. I don't know how old I was in middle school. And then I started taking more classes. Like I had, I think, 3 or 4 classes a week, and I started taking classes with Esmeralda. So then I kind of, yeah. And then right until after high school, when I went to Spain, right until like up until that point, I was taking multiple classes a week. So.
Did you do other kinds of dance, or like were you into like other art forms or anything? Like, did you think about other things or?
So the only other dance that I did was at the arts high school that I went to. We did
Mhm.
jazz, ballet, and modern.
Mhm.
But other than that, no. It's very flamenco. Like this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate doing those 3 styles for sure, like adjacent to flamenco, because I do think that they helped me, like with
Yeah. Totally.
posture and exposure to other dances for sure. Yeah.
So, do you remember like how, oh, sorry, I was going to ask you, like, what was it like being in an arts high school? Like, was that a positive experience for you, or do you feel like you missed other things, or was it just amazing?
No, it was a great experience for sure. I had a lot going on in high school, as you know, but it was definitely a very positive experience. I was in dance majors, so we had 2 dance classes a day, and one of them was always ballet, which is very technical and very annoying, but I do appreciate that I had exposure to that for sure. And yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be surrounded by other people that were also interested in the arts, and to kind of feed off of each other and collaborate and stuff. So.
You know, Deborah Dawson, do you know her? She's a dancer, Alejandra's wife,
Yeah,
and also Lara Wong, the flautist.
yeah.
Both went to an arts high school
Really?
together in Vancouver. They're
Together?
the same age, yeah.
No.
And Deborah was doing flamenco dance, and Lara was playing the flute, but not flamenco, I don't think at the time. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's such an amazing like opportunity that these things exist. I wish I had been like into the arts. That age it was all basketball for me.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll circle back. Tell me about that another
Yeah,
time.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, and then how old were you when you first got to go to Spain?
So the first time I went to Spain was with you. I think I was in high
What a leading question.
I was in high school. I think it was grade 10. So
I think you were 15.
like 14, 15, yeah. So yeah, that was exciting. That was my first time traveling alone too. It was like a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess if you want me to talk a little about that, that was a lot of fun for sure. I'm very grateful to you and Dennis Duffin, for giving me a great like taster of Seville. I feel like it was a very well-rounded, it was only a week, but I feel like it was a very well-rounded week, and I got like a really good,
Yeah, we did a lot of classes.
yes, a lot of classes, a lot of going to like huergas and like flamenco partying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had like churros like 4 a.m. on the Puente de Tria.
You also, I think, I'm pretty sure you like did fin de fiesta. Like we
Oh,
had a show in the flamenqueria. You did fin de fiesta. That was great.
yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember all the classes. I remember like you did a class of Ursula's, and we're like, it's you. You were like, I think we did too much. Like I was like, let's go into 4 a.m. and let's go, like 3 people make classes the next day. And I remember the Ursula's, you were like, like there's like 25 people in the class, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like we made you do. And I also remember you like running 2 things, running around in the rain. There was like a rainstorm,
Oh
and you were like,
no.
it's like I was like, ah, she's a child. I realized, and then also all of the like amazingness of like the Seville like downtown with all of these stores that are just like full of like flamenco shoes and like flowers and earrings and these things that are like impossible to find in Canada, and anyone brings something home and you're like amazing. And then there's like the world is like made it's for like a kid that's like into flamenco.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was fun. So then like after that trip, like were you like I need to get back here, or what were you feeling after that?
I was definitely thinking that I wanted to get back.
Mhm.
I think, to be honest, I think because like the more like mainstream like path for students is like to go to university and get a degree and then a 9-to-5 job kind of thing. And I think up until like maybe the end of grade 11, I thought that I was going to find something else that spoke to me. So then like go to Spain maybe for a couple of years as like a gap year and then come back and go to university and everything. But was not what happened. I just like started like talking with my mom more and more about how this is actually something I could do. And so then we just started planning for me to go to Seville. And it was very exciting for sure, very exciting. And I was excited to spend more time there too, because you can only fit so much in a week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was your mom like always like really supportive of the idea of you like being a flamenco dancer? Because it's like, I could see some parents being like, maybe like go to university and like then think about that.
I'm very grateful to my mom and my dad for being as supportive as they are. My mom worked in the arts for a long time. So she was very like gung-ho about it for sure. But she did always like check in to make sure this was something that I wanted to do and that I wasn't doing it for her. So yes, but so she was very supportive for sure. And she wanted me to be in Spain. I have to remind myself of that. She did want me to be there.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
What was it like? So you went to the Fundación, which is like a program for dancers and for like flamenco.
Oh yeah. So I went to the Fundación de Cristina Herren for 3 years and or it ended up being 3 years. And yeah, I think it was a really great program as like an introductory like space to land. I think it's a very well-rounded program. We did like body technique or like turns and then technique, choreography classes, complementos like with the bata de cola, manton. I think you get like a lot jam-packed. Also history.
Stuff is like really hard to get. Like the complementos. I mean, you have to really seek out those classes and like, yeah, there's so much technique. So that seems like an amazing aspect of it, all like the extra.
Yeah.
Do you play castanets?
Yes, we had a couple. Do we have castanet classes? Yeah, we had castanet classes too. I think I definitely did more castanets with Esmeralda here than I did in but I want to get back into it for sure. But the Fundación does have Milagros Menjivar, who's like really well known for that, or for complementos, and then Luisa Palicio, who is her student and is like amazing and explains everything so well. So it was really cool to get that for sure. But yeah, the Fundación was a really positive experience. I'm very grateful for the connections I made there too, because all these kind of dancers and singers and guitarists that are all very passionate about flamenco too, and that come from all over the world. And then you're kind of united by this one interest, which is really cool. And then afterwards, when you're doing projects and shows and stuff, you have all these people that you can collaborate with, which is really cool. So yeah.
Did that like start to happen?
Sorry?
Like, did you start to be performing and like what was the rest of your life like there?
So yes, I got to perform a couple times with friends and fellow artists for sure. I would say my first year there was very much a kind of wake-up call, kind of like level-wise, because the level was so high, but also a wake-up call is like, I know this is something that I want to do now, because like I want to be as good as all of these people are. So I think my first year was kind of still getting settled. My second year, I could like genuinely see my level improving a lot. And my third year, I did perform a bunch more, even though then it was, but performed a bunch more and kind of was seeking out more performance opportunities too, like putting myself out more, which was, I think, an important thing to be able to do.
Were you working with like different local musicians at all and guitarists and stuff like that, singers? I feel like I saw you in some video at I think it's called Labyrinto now or something like that with Divi.
Yes, Divi.
But she's a singer also at the Fundación, right?
Yes, she's one of the teachers at the Fundación. So it's very cool. I remember Salome, who was the other dancer in the show. We were trying to find a singer, and we just like one day looked at each other and was like, should we ask Divi? Because it was like a pretty big deal to be able to ask her and to see if she would be willing to do it or not, because she's known. And she agreed, and we were so excited because truly having that kind of like force behind you, like supported, and you feel like you can really flourish. So yes, I did perform with DV. I'm trying to think other shows that I did. The other shows that I did were with other students at the Fundación. So maybe not necessarily as well-known names now, but they're like, I'm seeing all of them doing so many great things now. So yeah.
Is there like a dream like singer you would want to like perform with?
Such a good question. Dream singer. Honestly, I really loved working with Devi. Like I worked to put together a group, and if she would be part of that, it would be like dream.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's also like so good for dance. She knows everything.
Yes, and so like fun to work with too. Like you have like you laugh and enjoy yourselves, and
That's cool.
yeah.
Do you know the singer Inma Rivero?
I don't think so. No.
She's like in Seville. She has really blue eyes.
Oh.
Like a bigger woman. Anyways, she's look her up. She you've seen her for sure. And she's really I've always wanted to do something with her. She sang for my classes and
oh yeah.
Manuel Betanzos, and I was like
it's interesting that the blue eyes was your description. I'm sure that
unusual, yeah.
I'm
for like super Spanish. And she's like I think she has blonde hair. Yeah. Anyways, I'll send you a link.
Yes.
But it is like really wonderful when you have like having those opportunities to collaborate with like those people that are like from like I mean I don't want to be like people that are from there, because like how was that? Like how did you feel as a foreigner there doing flamenco?
Yeah. Foreigner, I think you can probably attest to this too. It's kind of tricky. I find you as a foreigner doing flamenco in Spain, you kind of have to work like twice as hard to get half as far, which is sometimes frustrating. But I think that one of the like positives that came out of my time there is that I think I learned how to hold my own a lot more. And I think my first year, I like let people walk all over me, and I just like was a lot more timid and quiet. And then I reached a point where I was like, I'm here to do this, so like I'm gonna stand up for myself and stuff. And I feel like once you can hold your own, then you're kind of like respected more, if that makes sense. I think so that I guess would be the part of like working with other people. Being a foreigner also means like I was very far away from home, because there's the Fundación is an international school, but a lot of the students are also from Europe. They're far from home, but not as far from home, and Canada's like a million miles away. So that was a little tricky too, being away from home, especially when my mom was sick. But yeah, I do truly believe that flamenco is for everyone. I think it's a really beautiful art form in that way, because there's no like expiry date, kind of like I think maybe with ballet, for example, like your kind of career ends at a certain age. But I like that flamenco is more kind of inclusive in that way. So yeah, does that answer the question?
Like was going and to sort of flamenco parties and that kind of thing like a big part of your experience? Like did you go to a lot of huergas and dance and learn from those experiences?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's funny so my first time going to Spain with you and Dennis, Dennis took me to a bunch of like flamenco party situations where things were already kind of underway, but living there I kind of experienced that you're just hanging out with friends and you're all involved in flamenco somehow, so you all kind of have the know-how, and then someone just pulls out a guitar and you just start, and then before you know it, it's kind of happening around you, which is really cool. Like I remember one of the first nights we were in the Alameda, which is a big plaza in Seville, and like one of our guitarist friends had like brought his guitar just in case, and then we found
always just in case.
Always just in case.
Like always has a guitar, and I'm like, what do you think to happen here?
It's always something. And then there were these like, I think locals who were like, oh, you like play, and then like starts conversation, and then they started singing, and we're like doing bulerías and stuff, which is really cool. So it's cool to see all that happen organically for sure. But I think that that's a really big part of living there and kind of living flamenco. If you want to live flamenco, is exposing yourself to that side of things too. Which is like that was the roots of flamenco too. So yeah.
Totally. So like when you like make a dance, is it kind of, are you dancing like people's choreographies, or are you making up your own steps? Like how do you, I didn't prep you for, so there's gonna be some random questions that I'm just thinking of.
That's okay.
Yeah, like how do you create like a piece
how do I create
these days?
So I would say towards like the end of my time in Spain. And now I would say that my pieces end up being kind of a mishmash of recursos or material from all my teachers. And sometimes I like fill in the gaps with my own things. But I do find it like hard to choreograph sometimes. I'm very like, I guess the word would be perfectionist. And like, if it doesn't sound exactly how I want it to, or if it feels a little off, then I'd rather just like not do it because I feel like more confident in it. And that was one of the great things about being at the Fundación too, that we got a lot of material and I have it like all filmed. So whenever I want to do a palo or a genre flamenco, then I just review them. I would love to get it to a place where I'm more comfortable choreographing. But for now, that is where I am. Definitely a mishmash of.
Yeah, I feel like that's like was what kind of like what was mishmash for first in the beginning, like full choreographies from people,
Yeah.
then mishmash, and then now I think it's like there's still stuff from people, of course, but then like I think it's like you have to have like one of the things. Well, let's talk about this because you're not in Spain now. I know you're in Toronto. So like, what made you decide to come home for a while?
So it depends on how personal you want to get.
That's as much personal as you want to get.
So I came back mostly because of the pandemic. So as I guess now's the time to mention this. A couple of years ago, my mom passed away. So I had to come back to like clear up some admin kind of legal stuff that I had to be here for. So that was like the main reason. I was actually at one point considering staying there during the pandemic. And there was like existential crisis of like, where's home? Like, where am I going to go? So that is the reason that I came back, was more for those kind of personal reasons. I think the pandemic kind of got us all to confront what's important to us and is and what family is to us. And it's true that the majority of my family is here. Chosen and biological. So
totally.
Yeah.
That was like when I was, because I really was like, I'm in Seville. I wasn't like, I don't think I could live here forever. It was like too like remote, sort of like culturally like its own thing that I would like didn't feel a part of. But then in Madrid, I was like, oh yeah, like I could live here. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna live here.
Yeah.
And after a couple of years, I was like, nope, like I'm not Spanish.
Yeah.
As hard as I'm like trying to be like, this is my home, like I was just like, it's not. So so then I came back, but you know, it's like there's so many wonderful things about Spanish life. Like really, in my opinion, it's like better. The way people live is, for me, I really loved it, and I'm like a city person, so I thought it was great. But at the end of the day, it was like the people that made me come back here. I don't know, like, because so like, what are you thinking of doing now? Like, are you thinking of moving back to Spain now that the pandy is in a different stage?
The pandemic. That's a like really good question. So I am living in Toronto now. I have a place. I have a cat, as you saw. It is a little trickier for me to kind of up and leave as I once could. But at the same time, I'm really enjoying the stability that I have right now, as kind of these marks of stability in life that I haven't had in a long time, or ever. So I want to enjoy this while I can. But I do really want to go back to Spain. I was hoping to go back, even if just like for a couple weeks, fall or winter, just to see, like, take classes again and see how it feels. And I think maybe less see how it feels because I know how it feels, but be reminded of why I love being there and why I love studying, for sure. Yeah, it is. It's interesting. I do feel like this kind of like back and forth. I have gotten, for lack of a better way of saying, I've gotten comfortable here. And like my dad.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like for me, I don't know what it was like for you, or if you felt this way, that like I loved it there, but it was like always a bit hard. Like there were things that were always difficult. Just like the language, like things with the language, or just like not feeling like completely comfortable. That is like, whenever I came home, I was like, everything's easy. Like it's so easy here, and not like realizing how hard it was because I just got used to it until I came home. And then I come home and be like, like I just like went to the dentist, like or like went to the doctor like easily, or just like chatting, making like jokes with people in a way with like strangers that's like really difficult for me to do like in Spanish. So just, so many little things. So I get it, like, and I'm like, is it lazy to just like live in Canada?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think we're all built differently and we all appreciate different things. Like I realized, for example, my first year in Spain, I was like, oh my God, I love Spanish life too, because it's different than in Toronto. So it's like, I want to like travel a bunch and like live out of a suitcase and whatever, like the Parisian gypsy, I don't know what the word you want to use.
The best.
Yeah.
So romantic.
I was like, yeah, like this is what I want to do. This is so cool. And then I realized, I think during the pandemic, to be honest, it's like, that's not me. Like I want to have a space that I come back to and say like, this is home, or this feels like home, and not be so like up in the air all the time. Cause that's not me. So I think if you like came back and you're feeling comfortable and everything, then absolutely there's nothing wrong with that.
And then I think it's like Seville, this is always there. Like that's something that I went back last November, and it's like you go back and like everyone's there and like everyone's doing the same stuff. And I mean, you know, things change, but they don't change that much.
I you saying that actually, because I think I forget that. I think sometimes I fall into the trap of like I'm young, yes, but like you only have so much time and
like you're missing something.
Different, yeah, if I'm missing something. But it's true. I mean, Seville will always be there. And
well, I first went when I was 30, and you went when you were like, I mean, you first moved there when, how old were you? 19, 18, 19?
18.
18?
Yeah.
Wow. They just let you do that?
I know.
Uh-oh. So like, what's it like to be dancing here again? To be doing flamenco in Canada? Because I feel like it's different. Oh, sorry. Is there an alarm? I can't hear. Or am I muted?
No, I'm muted. I'm so sorry.
Oh, well, it's okay. Are you in an apartment building?
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Okay, there we go. Sorry, the question was.
That's hilarious. What's it like to be doing flamenco here in Toronto and like being back? Like it's obviously, I'm sure, different.
Yes. The word that comes to mind is cathartic. It's been so like I had stopped dancing for a bit because life kind of got in the way, but it's been very cool being here for my reintroduction. Like I really couldn't have asked for a better reintroduction to performing and being in the flamenco community, because I mean, all of you were like family to me. And so it's like performing in front of friends and family, like the show we did a couple of weeks ago was like, I was so nervous for it. And then when I heard the energy in the audience, like, oh my God, these people are like here for us. And
they love me. They do. Everyone's like, yay. I'm sure.
So it's been really, that's been really cool for sure. And I think that I had lost touch a bit with the flamenco community here, and kind of, I've always appreciated you guys for sure, but I think I got to Spain and was like, separated the two things in my head. But I mean, you that I had such a supportive like start to flamenco. So I gotta remember that. And I do appreciate all of you. And it's been really cool getting back into it for sure, and having kind of being welcomed with open arms as well. Because I was worried that I had kind of burned bridges, or that maybe things would be a little weird, but now it's like, no, you're all here and great. So
we're all very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
It's like, I found it interesting also because like, I feel like here you can just kind of like do more, like for me, and maybe you're not like experimenting with this kind of stuff yet, but like it took me like leaving Spain to be able to like dance more like myself, I think.
Interesting.
Or like have my own style, because like there I really was like, I'm trying to be all these things. And even now, if I go and like watch some like just get myself back in like the mindset there, I start like trying to be like things that I'm not necessarily. Are they like testing the fire alarm system, or is there like a fire?
There's no fire. They were pressure washing the parking garage, and everybody put their vehicles at the back of the building, so they're telling them to move them now. But
cool.
Like, email, why are you gonna do it like this?
Also, yeah, because I'm sure there's like so many people in your building that are like having meetings. They're like working. They're on Zoom. They're like doing Instagram live with an audience of like 13 people right now. Okay. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry.
Is it still happening?
No, it's good.
Okay. And like, what are your like aspirations? Like, what would you like to do? Like, do you want to like start a company? Do you want to teach? Actually, you are teaching right now.
I am teaching right now.
Anybody wants to learn from Makeda? What class is it?
So it's a beginner class at Esmeralda's studio, Academy of Spanish Dance. Right now we're Fridays at 6:30 to 7:30. And yes, we're going to be starting a choreography today, so very excited.
What are you doing?
Tangos.
Nice.
Basic, yeah. So Aspirations is a really good question. I feel like I'm kind of getting back into it, so maybe it's a little tricky of a question to answer, but when
you're figuring it out.
When I think in my heart, like what I want to do, I want to go back to Spain and build up my level again, because I was very happy with my level, or the progression of my level right before I left. So I'd like to build up my level again. I think it would be really awesome to do kind of some of the things that you've done, where like you put together a group with artists that you've met over there and bring them here and kind of tour and do shows and projects and stuff. That it would be really cool. I would really enjoy doing that. And I'd love to bring Devi here. Oh my God.
She's so amazing.
Yeah.
That's very ambitious of you to be like, I'm going to get a group with Devi and tour Canada.
Yes. Devi.
Possible though. Possible.
But I also think just like even a couple shows, like I think it would be cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. And also like there's so many other like artists, the other international artists. Yeah. There's so many artists that are accessible there.
Yes.
Like other people like ourselves, but that are like, you know, that have a lot of level, but like also are like looking for fun things to do. Yeah. You must have a lot of connections there that you could.
Yes.
You could be like, I want to come to Canada. People are usually like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely had a lot of friends or acquaintances in Seville that were like, you're from Canada? Bring me to Canada. Okay. Yeah. But now I think like in a couple of years, maybe I'll actually be in a position to be able to do that. So a couple of people I had, but I think
there's a whole other job to that too.
Yes.
To the organizing the band tour.
Yes, absolutely.
But I can help you with that if you want.
Thank you.
It's very stressful.
But imagine stuff. You always have everything. So
if you've ever organized a show, there's no greater stress than like, are people gonna come to the show? Oh my God.
Speaking of which, Leah has a show, everybody. Is it La Forestera? Yes. How do you say it? La Forestera? La
Forestera, yes.
Yes. Her bio.
I'll put it in the chat.
Yes.
September 8th to 11th. I should be promoting this every chance I get. The Factory Theater. September. You'll be there.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll have a fin de fiesta.
Yeah, for sure. Is it with your like usual group?
It's with Alejandro, who's a singer from France that I work with a lot. It's with Nicholas Hernandez from here. Yeah. And it's with Mateus Recharte. I think that's how you say the last name. Who's a percussionist who lives here. Yes, so those are the musicians, but also there's like lighting, projection, there's like film, working with some writers. There's going to be like it's narrated in Spanish. There's subtitles. It's a whole thing. So yeah, definitely come spread the word. Thank you, Makeda. And when are people going to be able to see you perform again? What do you have going on?
Good question. I believe I'm performing July 31st at ROM. I think it's for Flamenco Sundays. I could be wrong.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. That makes sense. Is this with Tamar and Shirley?
So Nicholas Hernandez, one who approached me about it, I believe is with Andy as well, the percussionist. And
yeah, that makes sense.
For the life of me right now, the other details, but I will be.
Well, whatever. Go to that because that is a Sunday and that is when they have flamenco there. And often it's outside on the patio.
Yeah. I
went a couple weeks ago, and it's really awesome. Like, it's really great to like see it outside. They have a really nice floor. That's really cool.
I love
and then you're also, I don't know, you're gonna do in September.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know this? Yeah, at La Cueva, is that right?
Yeah, Ali talked to me about it already.
Oh, look, Tamar says the lineup here. Gina, Nick, Chendi, George Crotty on cello, and Analia. Wow, that's quite a lineup. I wish I was here. That's next weekend.
Oh shit, yeah. I'm sorry.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
What a lineup.
Excited.
Well, so people should go to that. And then we'll have you at La Cueva on September 1st or 2nd. It's the first Sunday, and I think it's very early September.
Okay.
It's like 2nd or 3rd. And I don't know what else you got going on, but I'm sure people want to see you. And also, I should add, this month, La Cueva at oh, hi, Analia. There it will be myself dancing, and George El Caracolillo, oh my God, it's so hard to say. An amazing singer from Montreal will be performing. It's Sunday, August 7th. And then we'll be accompanied by these really incredible performers from Holland who are in town as part of the Flamenco Festival in Kitchener-Waterloo, which is, I think, happening right now. If anyone's in Kitchener-Waterloo, please check that out. Organized by Kala Jules, which is Claudia and her partner Julian. So they're doing amazing stuff. I think there's like a film festival that was either like yesterday or today, and then all this other programming. So they brought in these really amazing artists. So they'll be performing at La Cueva next Sunday. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of flamenco stuff going on. It's all very exciting. Tamara, did I forget anything there? I think that's everything. Tamara. And Makeda, where can people like find you if they're like watching for like when you have performances? I'm sure you'll have other things coming up.
So I'm not on Facebook as much as I maybe should be, but I usually am pretty frequent poster on Instagram here. So my handle is m.benitez flamenco, I believe. Don't even know my own name. Yes, Benitez flamenco. I post whenever there's posters. I also post like my friends' stuff as well. So yeah, that would be where.
I have a question. What is your favorite palo to dance?
That's a great question.
For all the flamencos watching.
Yeah. You know what? Ali and I were talking about this the other day. I really liked Tarantos at one point, and I really love to get back into Tarantos because as a structure, it's very satisfying to me. Like it feels like, I don't know if it's like the respuestas in the letra or what, but it's very, like the blocks are very satisfying for sure. Alegrias is always fun because I feel like I enjoy it a lot more. I also really liked Sigrillas right before the pandemic, which I'd love to revisit as well, but it's a very high intensity. Yeah. How about you?
The letras always like really spoke to me. And like they're so like I'm always like I don't know. The melody, there's something about the melody that really like hits me in the gut about Tarantos. Okay. And what's the other one that's like Tarantos?
Cientos?
No, it's like within Tarantos, like some of the letters are Tarantos and some of them are like, somebody on here will know it. Not Tarantos, and then anyways.
Malagueñas? No.
What was it?
Malagueñas? No.
No, because that's more like, isn't that more like Bangos kind of or something?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is really gonna bug me. It's like there's another melody that's sung like within Tarantos that usually isn't sung for dance, but like I think people just call it tarantos, but it's called something else. Doesn't matter, semantics. Somebody called Peppy the Poodle. Is that a friend of yours?
That's a friend of mine. Hi, Laura.
Very enthusiastic on here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, Makeda, this has been really wonderful. It's so nice to like chat flamenco and like hear about your amazing journey. And I know that like everybody here in Toronto, and I'm sure like all of your many buddies in Seville are just like very excited to see you doing flamenco again and having you back. We were all so happy to have you just kind of like start showing up at shows and be like, yeah, I think I want to do stuff. We were all like, so it's so wonderful, and we're all going to be following like what you do next and encouraging you to keep putting yourself out there because you're so awesome. It's amazing. You're such an amazing artist and such a natural. Oh, Analia left some questions in the question box. I don't know what that means. Oh, here. Ooh, the question box.
Levantica Taranta Minera. So one of those?
Minera. It could be Minera. Okay, Analia, let's answer Analia's questions before we go. Why flamenco? Are you interested to have pursued passionately, or are you interested or have you pursued passionately other dance forms? Like, what is it about flamenco that speaks to you?
Such a great question. I think, honestly, it's the intensity of it. And I know that like when I have felt very comfortable and supported like working in those scenarios, I feel like I reach a point where I just let go and I'm just dancing, and the amount of like emotion that I can put into it and release is like cathartic and amazing. And also, actually, one of the things I learned, or like one of my takeaways in Spain, was that there's beauty in the quieter moments as well. It's like it doesn't have to be a million things all at once, you know, like there's power in kind of the calm and kind of thing. So I think definitely the intensity for flamenco is what speaks to me about it for like at this stage in my life, for sure. I started flamenco because of my mom, but I have kept with it, I think, because of that.
Yeah.
Next question.
I hear that. I very much agree.
Yeah.
It's like you really get to be alive.
Yeah.
You're really experiencing life and emotion if you are doing flamenco.
Absolutely.
And then another question: if you had the opportunity to dance with anyone you'd like, who would you collaborate with? If you could like pick a dancer.
Collaborate like in a show or like a project?
Yeah, sure. Let's say like in a show with another dancer. Like, who do you love out there?
So the answer that comes to mind is Esmeralda, honestly. I would love.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
With Esmeralda. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously lots of artists and performers and everything in Spain, and it would be super cool to collaborate with them, but I feel like Esmeralda has been my mentor and like person I've looked up to this whole time. So I feel like performing with her, collaborating with her, I think would be really cool, like to kind of transcend that kind of relationship and be working in a professional sense like that. I think would be really cool.
Well, I hope that happens. I'm sure we all hope that happens. And I have another question.
Yes.
What about like who are the dancers that you are like, you see and you're like, I want to do that?
Mm-hmm. Definitely Luisa Palicio for complementos. Mm-hmm. I really love Paula Comitre.
Okay, I don't know her.
She is also does a lot of complemento stuff, but she was like classically trained at like the so she's like very. I really love that kind of way of dancing, I guess, when you have that base and then you're able to do so many more things. Another teacher I really loved in Spain was Fernando Jimenez for like intricate footwork and stuff. Ursula, I'd love to take more classes with Ursula as well. I actually had a whole list, like right before the pandemic, I had a whole list of people I wanted to study with.
But what about like who you see perform and you're like, that is like hits you in the gut?
Yeah. It's a good question. I'm trying to think. It's been so long since I like saw. Like,
I know. Yeah, when you're going to the Peña like every every week or whatever, a few times a week. It's like you're like them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't know that I have like a
You don't have like someone that's like
answer.
flying in the rain. Well, oh, and somebody else has a question, Pepe the Poodle. Is there a country other than Canada and Spain where you would like to perform?
Oh, interesting. Other than Canada or Spain that I'd like to perform?
Yeah. Where do you want to take the show?
Um, I don't know. I guess I hadn't really like thought that far ahead, to be honest. I'm still like,
I'll tell you, New York, New York.
maybe the States. I think honestly it would be really cool to perform / study in Mexico. I have a lot of in Mexico, and the flamenco there seems like amazing, and I would really love to go there and kind of expose myself to it there.
You know where else seems to have really amazing artists is Israel.
Really interesting.
Yeah, there's like so many, well, there's so many people in Seville that are like among the best I found that are like from Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I see, sorry?
Adi Akiva, I think.
Like Adi, and then there's like Yael, Yael, and then there was like a couple others, and they were like dancing together at one point, and I was like, wow. And then when I see videos of them in Israel, like the musicians are amazing too.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's interesting, like where
people come from.
Yeah, and like where these like the art has like really developed like independently of Spain.
Yes, I think Japan too. Flamenco's so big in Japan. My goodness.
Big in Japan.
Big in Japan.
That's like a band name. Well, a lot of things are big in Japan, but like only in Japan.
Interesting. I wouldn't know. But I think those are the main places where the international flamenco people that I met in Seville were from Japan, Mexico, Spain, if you want to count that, and like other places in Europe. I think those are the main for sure. I had like a student from India, and I was like, "There's flamenco in India? What?"
Really? Yeah.
Everywhere. It's crazy.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like a community of artsy people. It'll like pop up.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, now I think we've really answered all the questions. Everybody wants to make your collaboration with Esmeralda happen. That's what I'm seeing. Vanessa's like, we're going to make it happen. So maybe that'll be something that we'll see in the future. Thank you so much for being here. This has been really, really fun and wonderful. And I'm glad we got to share it with like so many people in the flamenco community.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun. I love talking to you. So,
you too. And everybody follow Makeda, and so you can see what's coming up. And tune in next week. We have Karen Burke, who is the head of the music department at York, next week. So we'll be talking with Tamar. So that's gonna be really cool. And yeah, have a wonderful Friday. Have a great class tonight. And I'm sure we'll talk very soon.
Yes, I think so too. Okay. Everybody, Fab Collab. Doing amazing.
All Fab Collab, yeah. Bye.